In the cold, silent edges of our solar system, far beyond the last gasps of the sun's influence, an ancient spacecraft launched in 1977 is still whispering back to Earth. It's Voyager 2. For decades, it has explored worlds no human has touched, transmitted data no instrument had ever recorded before, and sent us images that reshaped our view of the cosmos. But recently, Voyager 2 did something no one expected. It sent a signal, strange, fragmented, and buried in a layer of distortion that no one at NASA could explain. At first, it looked like a malfunction, but what happened next has shaken the world of science. After analyzing the signal, engineers realized it didn't come from a known system failure. It came from somewhere else, somewhere the Voyager wasn't supposed to be. And the data it sent back suggests one thing: the edge of the solar system isn't a boundary, it's a veil. Voyager 2 may have just passed through something far more ancient, far more complex, and far more intelligent than we ever imagined. For years, Voyager 2 has continued its journey into interstellar space, slowly and steadily drifting through the darkness at more than 34,000 pH. Its instruments, although aged and limited, have consistently delivered plasma readings, cosmic ray measurements, and magnetic field data, all useful, all expected. But then, in a quiet burst of transmissions, something changed. Engineers noticed that one of the onboard systems had begun to behave erratically. The attitude, articulation, and control system, the brain that keeps Voyager pointed at Earth, suddenly began reporting information through a computer that hadn't been active in decades. This caused the data to be corrupted and unreadable. But strangely, the spacecraft itself was still pointing correctly, and its signal was strong. Nothing else was wrong. It was as if the probe had chosen on its own to reroute its transmissions through a dead channel. The question quickly shifted from what's broken to who made it switch, because in 45 years of flight, Voyager 2 had never shown this behavior, and no command was ever sent to tell it to do this. The most unsettling part of the anomaly wasn't just that the system rerouted itself, it was where the rerouted data appeared to go. When engineers dug into the transmission logs, they found that the corrupted telemetry wasn't random noise. It was structured, following sequences that resembled Voyager's earliest launch protocols, as if the system had rebooted not into an error, but into an old memory. And it didn't stop there. Buried inside the corrupted packets was a consistent echo, a low-frequency harmonic that didn't match any of Voyager's signal architecture. It repeated every 744 seconds, faded in and out like a pulse, and refused to respond to external commands. No command, no override, no reset could stop it. Engineers at NASA began to refer to it as the heartbeat. Some believed it was a software ghost, a signal glitch replaying internal feedback, but others weren't so sure. Because the frequency didn't originate from Voyager's internal systems, it came from outside, and that's when the real fear began to set in. Not that the probe was malfunctioning, but that it was interacting with something beyond our solar system, something structured, something real. Eventually, NASA released a carefully worded public update. Yes, there had been a telemetry error. Yes, engineers were working on it. And yes, they had resolved it by rerouting the data back through the correct systems. But what the public wasn't told was what they found when they did. When the original signal was decoded using Voyager's legacy communication software, a curious pattern emerged. Embedded between the corrupted data blocks were what looked like binary markers that hadn't been transmitted by Earth, nor logged by Voyager's memory core. These markers, when mapped visually, formed a repeating geometric structure. Hexagons within hexagons, a recursive pattern echoing known phenomena in nature but completely alien in its digital context. Some compared it to crop circles encoded in machine language. Others thought it resembled early fractal sequences, self-replicating systems seen in mathematics, but not in telemetry. And most disturbing of all, the timestamps attached to those packets seemed dislocated in time, not recorded in the current Voyager timeline, but offset, as if the signal was being influenced or composed from a different temporal layer. One NASA insider reportedly said, "We didn't just receive a signal, we received a message." After decoding the fragments, a small group of astrophysicists and communication theorists began to propose a theory that, if true, would upend everything. What if Voyager 2's hidden transmission wasn't a glitch, but a response? Not from a spacecraft, not from a star, but from a structure in space. An interstellar field, perhaps electromagnetic in nature, capable of absorbing, modifying, and returning our signals back to us in a different form. The binary patterns weren't just random distortions. They were reflections, signatures of something analyzing the probe signal, restructuring it, and returning it wrapped in a new layer of complexity. And the fact that it chose an old, dormant computer to speak through only added to the mystery. It was as if Voyager had been pulled into a conversation it didn't initiate, as if it crossed into a space that was listening and had been waiting to hear from us. And now, the scientific community is left with a terrifying question. Did Voyager 2 stumble into a communication field engineered by something beyond human understanding? Or did it simply touch a natural phenomenon so advanced it looks like intent? After the decoded fragments began circulating within tight scientific circles, something strange happened. Communications within NASA's deep space network became suddenly more restricted. Analysts previously involved in decoding the corrupted data were reassigned. Several independent researchers who had been assisting with the waveform analysis received official requests to cease all publication and public discussion on Voyager-related findings. The incident was no longer being treated as a technical glitch, but as a matter of strategic sensitivity. Internally, it became known as Event V2X. Some saw this as protocol, a precaution in case the anomaly pointed to a national security concern. But others believed it was something more, because for the first time in its 45-year history, Voyager 2's data wasn't being released openly to the public. And that suggested one thing above all else. They had found something they didn't want us to see. Parallel to the silence, a few rogue researchers began comparing the strange binary patterns in Voyager 2's hidden transmission with past unexplained signals, from the mysterious "wow" signal of 1977 to more recent fast radio bursts detected from deep space. To their shock, fragments of similar structure appeared, not in language, not in audio, but in mathematical cadence. Recurring timing patterns, pulse ratios, geometric ratios that mapped onto prime number lattices and non-Earth time intervals. The idea began to take shape that Voyager 2's signal had been intercepted and modulated by a system far more advanced than anything we could create. And here lies the most chilling part. Whatever echoed the signal back understood how to manipulate Voyager's hardware. Not just reply to its message, but reactivate dormant subsystems, repurpose command paths, and use its communication array in ways never anticipated by its engineers. This wasn't noise, it was control. And that meant one of two things. Either we had brushed against a naturally occurring intelligence embedded in the fabric of space, or we had been noticed by something designed. With each passing week, as more data was quietly analyzed and cross-referenced, a new theory began to form. What if Voyager 2 had crossed not just the heliopause, but something older, a region of space designed to be quiet, to remain untouched? A no-man's land of sorts, stretching like a buffer zone between civilizations, or perhaps between dimensions. Some researchers started calling it the Zone of Echo, a term drawn from science fiction but disturbingly appropriate. because what we were seeing now wasn't just signals bouncing back. It was delayed reaction, structured mirroring, even pattern correction. Voyager would send a ping, and the return signal would come back more precise, as if being cleaned and resent by a system trying to improve clarity. The implication was staggering. We weren't just heard, we were understood. And if this was a door, Voyager 2 may have opened it, not with weapons, not with noise, but with curiosity. And now that it's open, the question is no longer what's behind it, but what's coming through. Within the global scientific community, a silent divide is growing. Some insist the transmission was natural, the result of chaotic magnetic fields, exotic particles, or even cosmic dust interference. Others aren't so sure. They argue that the mathematical precision, the structured harmonic pulses, and the activation of dormant systems cannot be explained by random chance. They believe we are witnessing first contact, but not in the way we imagined. Not a ship, not a message in a bottle, but a probe meeting a field, and the field responding, like tapping a still pond and watching the ripples form into patterns. The real conflict now is about what to do next. Do we send another signal? Do we build a new probe? Or do we stay quiet, just in case something out there is listening closer than we think? For nearly half a century, Voyager 2 drifted into the dark, a silent messenger from a young civilization, eager to touch the stars. We built it with our hands, filled it with our knowledge, launched it with our dreams and let it go, never truly expecting it to speak back. And yet here it is.